Number 1, function g is defined by g of x is equal to 3 times x plus 8. What is the value of g of 12? What does that tell us to do? Plug 12 in for x. So we have g of 12 equals 3 times 12 plus 8. We want to do what's in parentheses first. So 12 plus 8 is 20. So then we have 3 times 20 is equal to 60. And so our answer is D. Any questions about that? Number 2. Which of the following is an equation of the line that passes through the point 0, 0 and is perpendicular to the line shown above? What does perpendicular mean? I like how we just, that's not perpendicular. What's that one? Parallel. So you have parallel and you have perpendicular. And those have rules for you for your slope. If you have two lines parallel, what's true about their slopes? They never intersect, so their slopes are exactly the same. So if one has a slope of 2/3, the other one has a slope of 2/3. What's the rule for slopes for perpendicular? Opposite what? Opposite sign. So if one of them's 2/3, the other one's negative 2/3. Okay, opposite sign and reciprocal. So if one of them's 2/3, the other one is -3/2. Y'all following that? So parallel, same slope, perpendicular, opposite sign, reciprocals. So we're passing through 0, 0, so we know our y-intercept is going to be 0. We need to look at that line that's given to us and figure out the slope of that one so we can then flip it and change the sign. So what do y'all think the slope of that guy is? I would go up 4 and to the left 5. Is that -4/5? Do y'all agree? So that one is -4/5. So ours would be +5/4 to be perpendicular to that. Right? So what's the answer? A. Because you have to go through the origin and have a slope of 5/4. Number 3, the surface area of a right rectangular prism can be found by finding the sum of the area of each of the faces of the prism. What is the surface area of a right rectangular prism with length 4 centimeters, width 9 centimeters, and height 3 centimeters? Area of a rectangle is equal to length times width. So to find the surface area, we need to find the area of each of the rectangles and then just add them all together. Okay, so front rectangle is a 3 by 9. So what's the area of the front rectangle? 27. So if the front one is 27, isn't the back one 27 as well because they're the same size? Okay, I'm going to go to this side rectangle now. On the right side, it's a 4 by what? It's a 4 by 3. So what is its area? Okay, so we have 12 on the right side. So wouldn't we have 12 on the left side as well? So now we have to do top and bottom. So top is going to be, what are the dimensions of the top? It's going to be 9 times what? So what's a 9 times 4? So 36 on the top, 36 on the bottom. So I have 2 36s, I have 2 27s, and I have 2 12s. Okay, so I have 72, 54, and 24. So I believe that adds to 150, so the answer is D. Number 4, which of the following expressions is equivalent to x plus 7 times x squared minus 3x plus 2? You guys are the ones that like to do the rectangle thing, right? Because the rectangle thing really keeps it very organized for you. So if you don't like to do the rectangle, then you would just distribute the x to everything, and then you would distribute the 7 to everything, and then you would combine like terms. But the rectangle really helps you keep things organized. So you want, what size would your rectangle be?
2 by 3.
A 2 by 3. Okay, so I have x plus 7 along the 2 side, and then x squared minus 3x plus 2 along the 3 side. And then you just want to do the area of each individual square. So the first square, and I'm calling it square, I mean rectangle because they're not the same dimensions. But anyway, x times x squared would be x cubed. X times -3x is -3x squared. 2 times x is plus 2x. And then now I'm going to multiply +7 to everything. So +7 times x squared is plus 7x squared. +7 times -3 is minus 21x. And then +7 times +2 is plus 14. Sorry, my numbers are going outside the box. My alignment's messed up on the smartboard. But anyway, when you do the little rectangle thing, what always ends up happening, which is really nice, is the diagonals are the like terms. That's always the case, so it really organizes it well for you. So we have x cubed. We need to put the 7x squared and the minus 3x squared together, so that gives us plus 4x squared. And then we need to put the negative 21x plus 2x, so that gives us negative 19x. And then you still have the plus 14 on the end. And so which one is that? B? On number 5, we have the cost of apples given to us by the graph, and then we have the cost of pears is just an equation. C equals 7/5 P. The graph above shows the cost in dollars of apples as a function of the number of pounds of apples purchased at a particular grocery store. The equation above defines the cost C in dollars for P pounds of pears at the same store. Which of the following statements accurately compares the cost per pound of apples and the cost per pound of pears at the store? What would y'all do on this problem? Don't we just need to compare their slopes? Okay. I look at the answer choices and see that apples probably cost less than pears. Like if you just look at it, 3 of the answer choices are less, and then only D has more than. So I would take the cost of pears minus the cost of apples. So how much do pears cost per pound? 7/5, 7/5. How much do apples cost per pound? 8/6. Do y'all agree with that? Where did he get that?
In the big paragraph.
It doesn't say it in the big paragraph, does it?
No. How did he get that?
It's rise over run from the graph. So to get from the origin out to this point, don't you go up 8/6? You could do 4/3. It's the same thing, but aren't we just going to use our handy dandy calculator anyway to see what that difference is? So your calculator doesn't care if you put 8/6 or 4/3. You can do either one. So what is 7/5 minus 8/6? Ooh, you're going to make me work it out by hand?
30 on the bottom.
I thought y'all were using your calculators. You're making me work. Yes, you may.
It is 0.066 repeating.
It's 1/15th, which is 0.06 repeating, which is closest to 7 cents A.
Yeah.
Easy peasy, number 6. Which of the following is the graph of a function where y equals f of x? Keyword function. How can you tell if a graph is a function? I don't normally hear it called the pencil test, but what is he talking about? That's correct. Vertical line test. Straight line test. So if you draw a vertical line, how many times are you allowed to hit the graph? Only once. If you hit it more than one time with any vertical line, then it's not a function. So A is not a function because you hit it twice. Boom, boom. B is not a function because you hit it twice. Boom, boom. C is a function. D is not a function because you hit it twice. It doesn't have to be that you hit it twice everywhere. Just if you can hit it twice, it's not a function. Okay, C, no matter where you draw a vertical line, you would only ever hit it one time. So C is our function. So when you see function, think vertical line test. Which of the following expressions is equivalent to 3x squared plus 6x minus 24? So basically, what's the factored form of that? So what should I do first? Divide everything by what? So I have a 3 taken out, and then I need to see what's left over. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 8. Now, do I stop there? I need to factor what's left over, right? Okay, so you want to ask yourself what multiplies to negative 8 that adds to 2. Do y'all remember this? Where you're doing the 2 parentheses and you're doing x with something and x with something? So let's remember what multiplies to negative 8 that adds to 2. 4 and 2. So we need a plus 4 and a minus 2. Double check that. Does that work? Positive 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. Positive 4 minus 2 is positive 2.
How do you?
A biologist puts an initial population of 500 bacteria into a growth plate. The population is expected to double every 4 hours. Which of the following equations gives the expected number of bacteria in after X days? Remember that 24 hours is equal to 1 day.
Forget the name of that. It's like one. Yeah.
So some formula you're supposed to know, I don't know when you were supposed to learn it, is y equals ABT,
Yeah, that's what it is.
where AB raised to the T. So A is our initial value, our starting point. B is our growth,
I've never heard.
and T is our time. So what is our initial value?
500.
Oh, not equals, I'm sorry. Take equal off. What's our growth? It's double, so 2. And what's the time?
4 hours.
If it doubles every 4 hours, then how many times is it doubling in 1 day? 6. So that's why it would be 6x.
What? If it doubles, yeah. Hours.
Because there's 6 4-hour blocks in a day.
Oh, okay.
Okay, number 9, x squared plus 5x minus 9 equals 5. Which of the following values of x satisfies the equation above? What would y'all do with this one? Plug in each answer choice. That's going to work today, but it's not going to work on your daily check.
Does this depend on like how many days?
Are you back at number 8?
I'm on. I did the thing again where I didn't. So yeah.
Can you unfoil that?
Unfoil it. Can we get it set equal to 0 first? And then unfoiling is called factoring? Y'all with me? Okay, let's get it set equal to 0 first. So we need to subtract the 5. So I have x squared plus 5x. Is that minus 14? So now you want to factor it, which you're calling unfoiling. So we have to ask ourselves what multiplies to negative 14 that adds to positive 5. I heard 7 and 2. Okay, but you got to get the signs right. I would go with positive 7 and negative 2. Take a look at it because you want to come up with a positive 5.
Yes.
Okay? So when we go to solve it, though, we have to take each one and set it equal to 0. And isn't that going to change the sign? So that's going to be negative 7, and that's going to be positive 2 because you move it to the other side to solve for it, to the other side. So do y'all agree that D is the only one that works?
How did you know not to do the other one?
Okay, 2 is not a possible answer choice.
Why? Oh.
It's not a possible. I mean, if it were, then 2 would be a right answer.
Oh.
So I hope it's not a right answer choice, another
Oh, I
answer choice.
remember these questions now. Okay, yeah, it's like, yes. I remember why there's 2 answers for them.
Because it's parabola,
Yeah.
crosses the x-axis twice.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, the graph of f of x is shown in the xy plane below. Which of the following equations could define f of x? How are we going to do this?
You look at the x-intercepts and the apex, and there's like something that it's like 4 and negative 2, so you put that somewhere. It's C, isn't it? You plug it in your calculator.
What if you don't have a graphing calculator?
You lose yours.
Okay, so one thing that we did last period that seemed to work pretty easily was we just picked out the points that we knew the values of on this graph. And so there's a point at negative 2, 0. There's a point at 4, 0. There's a point at 0, negative 8. And so we just plugged those values. You could even try 1, negative 9. We didn't try it last period. But you could try it in each of your equations and see which one satisfies those points. We got A to work. So plugging in negative 2 for x, just kind of talk through it with me. Negative 2 squared would be positive 4. Do y'all agree with that? And then -2 times -2 is +4 again. So you have 4 plus 4 is 8, and then 8 minus 8 is 0, so it works for the first one. Okay, 4 squared is 16, minus 2 times 4 is 16. So 16 minus 16, I messed up somewhere. Let's see. 4 squared is 16, and then 2 times 4 is 8. So 16 minus 8 would be 8, and 8 minus 8 is 0, so it works for this one. Try 0. 0 squared is 0, minus 2 times 0 is 0, so 0 minus 8 is -8. It works for this one. Let's try 1. 1 squared is 1, minus 2 times 1 is -2, so 1 minus 2 is -1, and then -1 minus 8 is -9, so it works for those, so A is the answer that works. I won't put that one on the daily check, I promise, because it's really hard to do it if you don't have the equations to choose from.
Is there a way to like get your equations? Like,
Absolutely, but it's a little beyond what we're going to work on today. We will probably revisit it when we do the college algebra review. Absolutely. Because we go into like the A times x minus h squared plus k stuff, and it's just really, it's a lot. So let's not go there today, but we will. Question?
Like, wouldn't you just find the x-intercepts and then multiply them to find your...
So he's saying that you could just say that this solution of -2 gives you x plus 2 as a factor, and this one gives you x minus 4 as a factor, and then FOIL it.
There's something like that.
Yeah. Number 11, which of the following best describes the range of y equals -x⁴ plus 7? So do y'all remember domain and range?
Yeah.
What variable does domain go with?
X.
Domain is x's and range is y's, okay? And so when you're thinking about it, it's what does the graph look for range? What does the graph do up and down? If they're asking you about domain, then they're asking you what does the graph do side to side? Okay, so we're thinking up and down, what's going on with this graph? So what does this graph look like?
Is it squiggly?
To the 4th power looks more like a parabola, but like a flattened U kind of parabola. Like I see y'all doing this with your hands.
Yeah.
It can look something like that, okay? I put it downward. Should I have put it downward? There's a minus in front of the x⁴, right? Bless you. So, bless you. Okay, so I'm with you there. It would be down because if it was just 2x⁴, I would have done the same thing but upward. So now what do y'all want to talk about? It's not all real numbers. The domain would be all real numbers because it does go all the way to the left and all the way to the right. But we absolutely have a stopping point vertically, looking up and down.
The range is C, right?
Okay. Isn't this going to cross at +7, so it's 7 and below?
And it's everything. Yeah, exactly.
So is that C?
Yeah. Yeah.
So negative made it go down, and then
Wait,
the +7 made it.
How we got the graph shape again? Because like I blanked.
They just memorized what the parent functions look like. You don't need to remember all of them, but like to the 2nd power would be a parabola, right? To the 3rd power would be the cubic.
Yeah. What's the one that looks like L was one?
What's this one, guys?
-2. Is that the negative parabola? Wait, what is that one?
No, that one's I can't remember.
Is it 1/x?
Ooh, is it?
What?
It's inverse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, square root looks like this. And then what's this guy?
Oh yeah, it's a half.
It's the absolute value.
Absolute value. So they just have the parent functions memorized, probably is what I'm guessing, because everybody was just kind of doing this at me with their fingers. We covered the majority of them right there. You're probably fine.
I mean, yeah.
What's the one that's like?
Okay, 17. The correct answer is. I'm trying to remember.
17.
It lost me, y'all. Well, anyway, I was going to give you the answer and then promise not to put it on the daily check and then ask, is it okay if we just move on? I don't like 17. But I love 18. So let's just leave 17 blank.
No.
Let's just skip it. I skipped a bunch? Oh, well, you want me to do them? You don't want to do them? Because they're still going to be on your daily check. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. Good students. Are we on 12? Sorry. For which of the following equations is x equals 6 the only solution?
I'm never gonna get a star in this class. 97 the past 3 tests.
Yeah, it has to be because
You think it's what?
yeah.
I'm hearing B's, I'm hearing D's. What would the solutions for D be? Positive 6 and negative 6, right? So it's not D. This one would have negative 6 as a solution twice. What would A have as a solution? 0. So I'm thinking it's B. Because this equals x minus 6 times x minus 6. So this is positive 6 and this is positive 6, isn't it?
Yes.
For D, it would be positive 6 and negative 6.
You just inverse the thingies and their signs.
When you have two factors, you set each one individually equal to 0 and you solve it. Are you seeing it? Okay. Okay, number 13. If f of x equals x squared plus 3x plus 1, then what is f of x plus 2? What is this telling us to do?
Oh crap, we have to shift the 2 to the right. So you have to take, what's the rule for that? Dang it.
Everywhere there's an x, hear my rule. Everywhere there's an x in the original equation, we're going to replace it with x plus 2.
Okay.
That's all we're going to do, and then we'll deal with it from there. So everywhere there's an x, you're going to replace it with x plus 2. So we're going to go x plus 2, all of it squared, plus 3 times x plus 2, but then you still have the plus 1 on the end. So everywhere there was an x, we just rewrote it as x plus 2, but kept everything around it. Do you follow what I did? So now we actually get to be really lazy and just pick B, because they didn't do anything more than that. Is that not ridiculous?
No. That's easy.
You did it.
14. What, if any, is a real solution to square root of 5x plus 1 plus 9 equals 3? Solving it without answer choices, what would you do?
Go ahead and square it.
No, get rid of the 9 first, right? Got to get rid of the 9 first. Because you have to isolate the square root before you can square to get rid of it. So we have, you would actually have to FOIL that, Joe, if you didn't get rid of the 9. You would have to do, you see what I'm saying? That would be really ugly. You don't want to do that. 3 minus 9 is negative 6. Now we can square both sides to get rid of the square root. And so we have 5x plus 1 equals 36. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides. And we get 5x equals 35. We're going to divide both sides by 5. And x equals 7. What's tricky about square roots? Absolutely. It's very tricky because you have to take the value, plug it back in, and make sure it works. This one does not work.
Oh, so it's...
Okay. What's 5 times 7? 35. What's 35 plus 1? 36. What's the square root of 36? And what's 6 plus 9? Not 3.
What? I'm never going to remember that.
But that's always the case with square roots, is you have to plug it back in and make sure it works. So we could have probably seen at about step 2 that we weren't going to get a solution. Because can you take the square root of anything and get a negative 6 back?
No.
You would have gotten a positive 6, right? So it didn't make sense back then. Okay, but again, to check it, you have to plug it back in and make sure it actually works. Number 15. If x cannot be negative 2 and x cannot be negative 3/2, then what is the solution to 5 over x plus 2 equals x over 2x minus 3? Why are they giving us these not equal to things?
Because they're telling us that it's...
Why can't the bottoms of these fractions be these numbers?
Because then you have a negative... No, divide by 0.
Because then you would be dividing by 0. Do y'all see it if you plug those x's in that they eliminated? So we're just going to cross multiply. We really don't have to worry about the not equal to. It's just nice that they threw that in because that would make it undefined and we can move on with life. So anyway, cross multiply. So we have 5 times 2x minus 3 equals x times x plus 2. We want to distribute the 5. So 10x minus 15, we want to distribute the x. So x squared plus 2x, and now what? What's that? Can I get it all set equal to 0? Get it all on the same side? So if I'm going to get it all on the same side, then I'm going to subtract 10x from both sides, and I'm going to add 15 to both sides. Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Subtract 10x, add 15. So this cancels out, this cancels out. I have 0 equals x squared minus 8x plus 15. Now what do I do? Your backwards foiling thing. What's that called again? Factor. We want to factor that.
To get -8, add -15.
So we multiply to 15, we add to -8. Is that what you said?
That's what I was meaning to say.
Okay. So what multiplies to 15, folks?
5 and 3.
5 and 3, and what are our signs to get -8? Both negative, aren't they? And that's good because we needed a positive 15. Cool. So -5, -3. Okay. But then they switch signs. Good. So we have x minus 5 equals 0 and x minus 3 equals 0. So this gives us x equals positive 5. This gives us x equals positive 3. And so the answer is A.
So many just why? I hate the switching thing. I wish I knew why it switched. Like, I don't get that part.
You have to have them come out to 0.
Oh! Equals 0. I don't get it. That makes sense. I just never carry down the 0 equals. And then I'm like,
Okay, number 16. Running out of time. Triangle JKL and triangle PQR are shown above. If angle J is congruent to angle P, let's go ahead and mark that. Angle J is congruent to angle P. Then which of the following must be true in order to prove that triangles JKL and PQR are congruent? There's 4 ways from geometry to prove that triangles are congruent. What are the 4 ways?
One angle, one side are the same.
They're always 3 letters.
Oh, then never mind.
side, trans.
Oh, we got one. Can we do side, side, side?
Yeah.
Nope, because we have an angle. What are the other 3? Side, angle, side. Angle, side, angle.
I forgot about all of this.
And then the 4th one that everybody forgets is not a bad word, ASS. You cannot do that one. It's not one of them. But you can do angle, angle, side. Those are the 4. That's it. You can't do a bad word. What's that? It does mean donkey, but it doesn't apply to right triangle or triangles of any sort. You cannot donkey a triangle, okay? Don't do it. So we're going to look for side, angle, side, or angle, angle, or angle, angle, side. Okay, so if we try answer choice A, let's mark what they've given us. We have L with R, and then we have JL with PR. JL with PR. Does that give us one of our deals? Doesn't it give us angle, side, angle? So that works.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's try to see why the other ones don't work. Do y'all not agree?
Works. If that's a side, and there's 2 angles, and that's one of the things.
Okay, let's look at B, KL with QR, KL with QR, and then PR with JL. PR with JL. That's the bad word. Do y'all see the donkey?
Yeah.
That's the donkey. Don't do it.
Don't do the donkey.
Do y'all see how that's the donkey, though?
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like I've lost you guys.
No, I get it.
Okay, and then for C, we're going to do JK with PQ, JK with PQ, and then we're going to do KL with QR. KL with QR. Oh, it's another donkey going the other direction. Not good. And then last but not least is angle, angle, angle. Because you have K with Q, and then you have L with R. And angle, angle, angle does not prove triangle congruence. When I used to teach geometry, students could not wrap their brain around that. And so I would have to give them like, okay, this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Oh, it would be 30 up here, 60 down here. And then this is a 30, 60, 90. Are they congruent triangles?
No.
So do you see that you can have the exact same angles and not be congruent? Okay, let's keep going. We're good. 17, we're going to skip. Let's do 18.
No logs.
We're doing 18. Let's keep going. For the formula, when it's in exponential form, we have y equals b to the x That's the same as the log form. X equals log base b of y. I would write that down so that I would have it on my packet for the daily check next time. That would really help me. So I'm actually going to turn that around and call it b to the x equals y, because that's more what they gave us looks like. So b to the x equals y is the format they've given us. Okay, so I have 2 to the 5x equals 7. So x is actually replaced with 5x. What is b replaced with? A 2. And what is y replaced with? A 7. Are y'all seeing? I'm just plugging in what goes together. But I want to get x by itself, so I divide both sides by 5, and it is b.
Wow.
19. We have if x is greater than 0 and y is greater than 0, then which of the following expressions is equivalent to that? This one's going to take me more than a minute, so I'm going to go on to 20. And I won't put 19 on your daily check. But 20 is a quick and easy. Here we go. We have a right triangle, and we have cosine. Do you guys remember SOHCAHTOA?
Yep.
So SOHCAHTOA has CAH in the middle of it. That's cosine is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. They say the angle C is the right angle. A and B would be the other angles. So this is adjacent, this is hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is 8. Adjacent to A has to be 5. Adjacent means next to, okay? But then they want to know what is the cosine of B. So it's still going to be over 8. Do you agree? But adjacent to it is going to be this side. So we have to do Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. And you get the square root of 39, and the answer is C. Have a great day. Sorry.